In the heart of Benin City, one man didn't just control the road, he owned the fear on it. Corporal Ochuko. If you saw his checkpoint, your grip tightened on the wheel. He was the law, the judge, and the predator. Imagine a police officer, meant to stop thieves, becoming one himself. He felt untouchable, or so he believed. Until one scorching Tuesday. Ochuko reached for a simple nylon bag. He thought it was free money, from a sweating apprentice. He didn't know, he was reaching into a hornet's nest. He didn't just steal cash, he stole from the wrong lions. Stay with me, because when the true owners of the street discovered who touched their contributions, Benin City became a furnace. This is the day the hunter finally became the prey. Corporal Ochuko was a system unto himself. Every morning, he mounted his roadblock like a king on his throne. Where are your papers? Bring your particulars. But everyone knew the truth. He wasn't checking documents, he was checking pockets. Backed by powers from above, he felt untouchable. Complaints came and disappeared. Names were mentioned, then buried in silence. With time, Ochuko stopped looking over his shoulder. He believed his uniform was a bulletproof vest against consequences. People didn't just fear the checkpoint. They feared the man inside it. On the day of the temptation, Ochuko wasn't alone. He was on duty with 3 other officers. They moved like a pack of wolves. While 3 of them created a storm, shouting at a truck driver, blowing whistles, creating chaos. Ochuko stood in the shadows of the bus stop, silent, watching. Not rushed. Not desperate. Just waiting, like a man who had done this too many times to fail. He wasn't looking for criminals. He was looking for prey. It was a perfectly choreographed theater of intimidation. Not long, a small bus rolled to a stop. Inside sat Mike. A young boy clutching a backpack, pressed tightly between himself and the window. The bag was only half-zipped. Through the opening, a black nylon bag could be seen peeking out. Inside it was 200,000 Naira, the street's party funds, contributed by the area boys for drinks and other logistics. While the other officers created a storm of noise on the driver's side, shouting, blowing whistles, distracting everyone. Ochuko saw his chance. He recognized value instantly. His hand moved like a ghost. Zip. Reach. Pull. No hesitation. No second glance. He didn't put it in his pocket, that was for amateurs. He walked to a hollow spare tire behind the sandbags and dropped it in. A wave of the hand. A smirk. The bus was gone. The conductor saw the movement, but said nothing. Clean. Or so he thought. When Mike reached the drink dealer and found the bag empty, the air left the room. He quickly called his brother, popularly known as Chairman, the leader of the area boys, whose members had contributed the 200,000 Naira for their party and expenses. In Benin, the street has its own network. Within 10 minutes, the bus driver and conductor were found. The conductor spoke. I saw the corporal's hand, then to the bag. Chairman understood immediately what had happened. He didn't shout. His face went stone cold. Not anger at first. Just stillness. The kind of stillness that comes before a decision is made. Then the word spread through the alleys. The man in uniform has robbed the blood of the street. Instead of taking it to the authorities, the street prepared its own justice. In Benin, silence is more dangerous than shouting. When the chairman finally looked up, everyone understood. This was no longer about 200,000 Naira. This was about respect. If you are new to this channel, subscribe now. Because what happened next turned the armed officers into trapped men. Back at the checkpoint, Ochuko was still laughing, even sharing jokes. Completely unaware, the story had already left that road. Then, the ground began to vibrate. 50 motorcycles. 100 men. One by one, they pulled over. The same men, whose party money had vanished. They surrounded the 4 officers, in a ring of steel. The silence was more terrifying than any shout. Then the crowd shifted. Not by force, but by respect. Chairman stepped forward, his voice a low growl. Ochuko? The nylon. Give it to us now, or today the road ends for you. Ochuko tried the old trick. Do you know who I am? He thought it was business as usual, failing to realize it was the beginning of the end. Chairman smiled. We know who you were. Today, we see who you really are. And for the first time, Ochuko felt the ground move beneath him. Ochuko's arrogance angered the boys. And within seconds, agitation erupted. They were not waiting for a search warrant. They tore through the checkpoint, turning everything upside down. One of them rushed forward and kicked over the spare tire. The tire shifted. Something dropped. Black nylon. The nylon tumbled into the dirt. For one heartbeat, nobody moved. Then a jagged roar ripped through the air as a finger pointed at the mud. It's the money! And just like that, silence broke. That was the spark. The tension snapped like a dry branch. What followed was a total collapse of order. The other 3 officers were swamped, but the street's fury was reserved for Ochuko. He looked around. Not for escape, but for control. And there was none. The king of the road was humbled in the same mud he used to rule. His uniform, once his shield, was shredded. No driver begging him. No one explaining. No fear left in the air. The man who once shouted, "I will lock you up," was now on his knees before the same people he used to bully. In that moment, he witnessed the true power of a community pushed too far. Ochuko understood the truth at last. The fear that once protected him was dead. The respect he borrowed from the police uniform had vanished. He was no longer the terror of the road. Just a man, standing alone in torn cloth and dust. He realized, a uniform can make a man a god, but only the people can make him a ghost. The situation had become so explosive, it took 2 full patrol teams, sirens blazing, to pull the 4 officers out. As they threw a broken, dust-covered Ochuko into the back of the van, the crowd did not scatter. They stood their ground, shouting, "Thief! Thief!" The chant followed the van as it sped away. He sat there silent. Not because he had nothing to say, but because nothing he said mattered anymore. In the darkness of that van, Ochuko understood the final blow. His authority was dead. The story did not end with a fight. The investigation was swift. The evidence in the spare tire was undeniable. Ochuko was dishonorably dismissed, stripped of rank, pension, and pride. All the calls he used to make, all the names he used to mention, none of them answered this time. But the street paid a price too. Chairman and several of his men were later arrested for riot and assault. In Benin, the law eventually collects from everyone. That day in Benin City, a giant fell. Ochuko learned that a uniform is a responsibility, not a license to rob. And the street learned that even when you feel justified, the law can still demand a price. Power may protect you for a while, but consequences wait patiently. Power without respect is just a target on your back. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe right now, because the next story will be even more shocking. Join this community today, and never miss the kind of stories people talk about for days. Now let me ask you, did the crowd go too far? Or is their anger justified? Tell me in the comment.